Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harping on Rugby preview show. And joining me to look ahead to Leinster's final regular season URC match is someone earning cap number 86. Warm welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
How are we? It's amazing. We have absolutely nothing to talk about. Nothing happened last weekend. It
Nope.
just so happens that I'm coming to you from a very dark room that I've locked myself in for the last week. So, yes, I hope all is well.
Yeah, all is well. Yeah, well, we're recording on the Thursday, and I've been doing my best not to talk about anything that happened last weekend out loud for a couple of days now. But since we haven't heard from you since our preview, so I suppose we've got to get your quick thoughts on it. How did you see it?
Yeah, I made myself watch it twice more, just to kind of I don't know why actually. And when you watch it again without the emotion, there are a couple of things that could have changed, and I think it all comes down to cup final rugby. And it's something that we're getting there about because on cup final days we've kicked for points and lost. On cup final days we've gone for tries and gone 21-0 up in the first 15 minutes. So, it's not all doom and gloom. I think out of the 9 penalties we had, maybe 4 of them were kickable, and maybe if 2 go over, that's the difference. And we're talking about a drop goal here, which is 8 inches, and the whole narrative changes. I followed your example, and I avoided as much social media as I could afterwards. Anytime you are in a final, chances are you're up against an elite team, and it's going to be close. It was extra time. It took the greatest player to ever play the game to play his best game at the biggest moment to beat Leinster. So, you know what I mean? This is what it is. We weren't that far away. The trick is now this weekend and moving forward how we navigate that.
Yeah, I mean, you said before how it was frustrating that all these recent years have been 1 point losses and 2 point losses. I mean, this was technically a 0 point loss
Mhm.
because I mean it was level at full time, and as Keeno's famously said, he's regretting saying it now. Keeno's 6 inches. He talks about 6 inches on Frawley's drop goal attempt, and we'd be having an entirely different conversation. But listen, it is what it is, and we just have to push on. And thankfully, we've got a good bit of rugby left to play this season. So hopefully that'll take our minds off it for all the right reasons. So listen, why don't we just move on and look ahead at our feature match of the week, which is of course Leinster v Connacht in the 18th and final round of the 2023-24 United Rugby Championship. It's taking place at the RDS Arena on Friday, May the 31st, kicking off at 7:35 p.m. And I'm reliably told that this is the last time we'll see the RDS Arena as we know it. I don't know what they're planning for the knockout matches, but that's what they're saying anyway. TV coverage in Ireland is on TG Cahir, Premier Sports, and URC.tv. And as ever, you'll find the full listings for the weekend over at harpinonrugby.com. Just click the Rugby on TV tab. Leinster named their match day 23 at lunchtime on Thursday. If you're watching on YouTube, it should be right there in the screen. Or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Now, Keego, you said yourself, this is a big mental test for us after last week.
100%. So this is, when it's a 1 point game or whatever it is, as we've had previously, you can feel the momentum taken out of the balloon. The balloon kind of bursts in terms of momentum. We weren't quite there last weekend in terms of that kind of massive exhaling of what happened. It was, it certainly didn't affect me as much as previous ones, which might be a part of the problem, but it's all between the ears. You look at the guys, the post-match interviews last week where they were saying we'd rather go for it and lose than not go for it, all that sort of stuff, which is great. Now it's time to back it up. So now it's time to get out there and put a performance on. My second point is more of a worry than anything else, but I think now is the time to put it up there and kind of say, look, all the stuff we said post-match last week, this is what it means. We're going to show you what it means. Last game in the RDS, everyone get their pictures taken at every stand, especially the Anglesey stand, because that's going to go. That's going to be like the Mona Lisa in the horse show. So we need to celebrate. We need to be there. It's going to be sold out, but the lads need to put a show on this weekend, and if they do, it's a great sign for where they are mentally.
Yeah, the one thing about the Anglesey stand, I'd almost want to go and deliberately sit behind the pole that blocks the view. There's about 3 or 4 poles in that stand, and if you end up sitting there, you're ended up going like this half the match. You almost just do it one more time just for giggles. No, seriously. What I do during the week is I try to pick a team based on the players I know are going to be available. And after last weekend, it was really wasn't easy. I mean, you're talking a match that was 100 minutes long. A lot of players put in a massive shifts. Porter example came back on. Then you've got a 6-day turnaround for the next game. So it was really difficult to pick. And the update wasn't wasn't exactly good news during the week as well. But there were three names there, and I figured if at least one of them could be available, that would be good. But luckily, we've got two. We've got Tommy O'Brien and Charlie Natai has made the bench, so that's a big boost. There's definitely a lot of strength in that team, and we were wondering about Kieran Frawley. We were wondering, did he take a bad knock to the head last week, and here he is playing 12. But that kind of, in a way, brings us on to your second point. You want to talk a bit about the 10 we did select, Sam Prendergast?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I know there's talk about him going to Connacht, and if I put the blue jersey down, that might be a great move for him. He's still a kid, big kid. He needs game time all the time. But I think part of the issue with the thing that we don't want to talk about from last weekend is the succession of tens. Because Johnny was there forever and immovable, we would see people come and go around him. Whereas now we've got a few there who, one that was an experiment or is an experiment, kind of seen as the next one, and Harry Ross, who you look at what he did against La Rochelle, and he didn't have a bad game last weekend. Don't listen to Off the Ball. But then you've got who I think is the next one is Prendergast. He's absolutely, or sorry, Frawley, excuse me, Frawley, who is brilliant. I think he's a big boy, very experienced, and good under pressure. We saw him sink kicks late in the game last season in South Africa, I think it was. I can't remember. His memory's kind of gone now. And I thought, now, okay, this is the time where we pick our running order of tens. If you say Ross is there at the top, that's fine. And if you say it's Harry and Frawley there, let's go with Frawley for the rest of the season. He's shown what he's able to do. He's played all around the pitch. He understands the rest of the pitch, which is something the other 10s don't have, because he's played at 12, he's played at 11, I think, played at 15. So he knows what all the other players are thinking. Whereas we all know if you're a 10 from the age of 10, you will never be able to think like any other position on the pitch, with all due respect to our 10s in this world. And I thought this would be a great spot for him to get in there, get his feet under that 10 jersey for a while. Hasn't happened. They're playing him at 12, which is, I know, again, big shift from the guys last week, and maybe that's why this is happening. But I would love to see a succession line of 10s, assuming injuries don't come into it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, it's literally the most pivotal position on the pitch, and you really want to know what your pecking order is. And I think that's a problem that Leinster haven't really, going by their selections week in, week out, they haven't really don't seem to have really solved, I suppose is the word you could use. I mean, it's clear that Ross Byrne was their choice, and I think a lot of fans are just basically disagreeing with that in itself. It's nothing against him, it's just his style of play with the way we want to play. We had a big chat about that on the pod last week. He's this, what do they call him? They call him a stand and sling style out half, as opposed to someone like Frawley, who literally runs wraparounds. He's almost actively seeking to be a direct replacement for the kind of player Sexton was, if you've never reached those levels, but still he's playing that kind of game, and he's got that kind of all round kind of vision. And then, like you say, you've got Sam Prendergast coming through the ranks, and he's showing that he's got his own set of abilities, his body language when he passes, and he's got all these ways, but he needs game time to affect that. And this is a great opportunity for him to start. He hasn't started in a while, as far as I know, and it's a chance for him to take the game from the kickoff and get a good 50-60 minute shift in front of the RDS crowd. Give us maybe a taste of what we're seeing in the future. Maybe he'll go on loan to Connacht at some point, which would be good for him. You wonder. You just, it's a question, it's a debate we can have over what Leinster need to do and who needs to go where, and we've been talking about that a lot on the pod the last couple of weeks. But it will be interesting. Frawley, he played fullback a few weeks ago. Now he's at 12. I mean, it's good, it's good to be versatile, but I don't think that's where his mindset is. He's made it pretty clear he wants to be playing 10, and he's just signed a new contract as well. So, what he was told when he signed that, what he said he wanted in his goals and whatever, we'll just have to see down the line. But when I was picking that team, I had trouble at 12 as well. I think I had Brownlee down because I didn't think Charlie would be back, and maybe Charlie's not quite fully fit to wear that 12 jersey. So it might be more a necessity that Frawley's doing 12 this time. But it's an interesting combination with him and Osborne anyway, and it's an interesting lineup all through. There's some, and of course we got to give a shout out to Reece Ruddock as well. He announced during the week that he's retiring. It's been an amazing career. I thought he might even give him the captaincy for this one, but I had a feeling he would be playing. Would been, Scott Penny's been doing it great all season, but I thought maybe for one final hurrah. But hopefully he gets a good send off. And there's others who might be playing their last game at the RDS as well. Ed Byrne, Ross Maloney, there's a few there as well. But it's an interesting lineup with a good mix and more players than I expected that were involved in London last weekend. Okay, so now it's time to have a look at Connacht. They are currently sitting in 10th position in the URC, 4 points behind 8th, so they can mathematically still make the playoffs with the win at the RDS, although they need some help elsewhere. There's their lineup, Keego. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, I think they fancy it. I think they may see a little bit of, I'm only speaking from their point of view, they may see a little bit of frailty after last week and another final, all that sort of stuff. So they may come and really, really fancy it. That's where the crowd need to do their job. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be brilliant. Obviously, with our Connacht brothers and sisters coming up to watch the game. But I love the back row battle that we have tomorrow. I've just got it on the other screen here. Obviously, with Ruddock, Penny and Conan there. Like Conan starting is... anytime he starts, it's going to be a good time. So, they're up against, as in the Connacht back row, we're up against a very solid medals everywhere back row, and they'll relish that shot. They'll relish the chance. And then there's I love Cian Prendergast. I think he's a big hairy unit, like a caveman guy in there looking to spoil everything. So that's going to be worth the shot there. And I think Blade as well at 9. He's a great player to watch. He's always speeding about the place. He's a bit of a Tyrannosaurus Rex with those tiny arms, but no, he's always great to watch and quick with the delivery. So if Leinster are not awake, if Leinster kind of like let the occasion get to them, or ghosts of games past come back, this team are ready to pass around them. So we got to keep switched on all the way through.
Yeah, there'll be no doubting their motivation. I mean, it's not just that they can still make the URC playoffs, but I mean, Jack Carty, he knows how to win at the RDS. He's played well there before, himself and Blade. They're a great halfback pairing. They'll be going up against Foley and Prendergast, the younger combination coming up. So they'll be looking to stamp their authority early. They have a strong front row there as well, Julie Heffernan and Beelum. And they've got Lad Cordero as well. Now he's be looking to show, I think this is only his second appearance. He was a great new signing from the last season, but the injury is he's literally only come back from injury last week, I think, or last couple of weeks. So he'll be looking to impress as well. So there'll be it definitely won't be easy for us for sure. Okay, so quick look at the officials now. You see it's Chris Busby holding the whistle there. It's an all-Irish team. The weather for D4 on Friday evening is supposed to be partly cloudy, no rain, little or no wind. Should be a good evening there. And now we're going to have a quick look at the other matches. And the ones that affect Leinster the most this weekend are the Sharks, the Bulls, and of course the other Interpro as well between Munster and Ulster. Basically, to finish in the top 2, we need to beat Connacht and also hope either Munster or the Bulls slip up. Do you see either happening, Keego?
I don't know. I think there's good news recently around Ulster. Coaches resigning and injury reports getting slightly better, but like they're going to Thomond Park, and to be fair, Munster supporters will show up when their team are doing well. So yeah, I think it's going to be a win for Munster there. Fortunately, unfortunately, whatever it is, like we are in the place we are in because of what we have done, not because of what other people have done. So sometimes you got to take your medicine and work your way through it, and maybe that's what we need to galvanize the brain synapse going into the end of the season.
Yep, it's the consequence of not being in the top 2, of course, is that we'll probably have a quarterfinal or semifinal away from home, assuming we win the quarterfinal, of course. But that could mean a trip down to South Africa and something like that. There's an upside to that as well, though, because I think it's about time. Assuming we're going to pick our best squad for a URC semifinal, if we go to South Africa with our strongest squad, they just announced the fixtures for next season this morning as we're talking. It turns out next season's South Africa trip is just after the Six Nations, so we won't have our best squad then either. That's already been taken away. So this might be an opportunity. But anyway, look, like you say, we are where we are. We just have to win the games that are in front of us wherever they are, and that's probably the best we can hope for at the moment. Okay, so it's now head on the block time. Keego, how do you see it going on Friday night?
I actually quite liked the post match last week. The what the guys were saying, and I think they know they have to prove it. And I think I think there's a win there. I think whether it's emotion, whether it's aggression, whether it's a mixture of both, we're going to feed off the crowd, feed off the sellout, and we're going to beat Connacht. I think there's a couple of scores in it. I think that's the way it's going to end up.
Okay, and like you say, the crowd will definitely play a big role in that as well. We need everyone coming out and being loud and proud for the entire 80 minutes, and give them a good send off from the RDS as we know it. So hopefully it's a good night in every respect. Okay, listen, we're gonna leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us. And what stand up gigs do you have coming up?
Yeah, next week we are in town. It's all on KeegoLaughs.com, leading up to the first I Confuse Easy show on the 7th of June in Phibsborough, and then we're building up to the show in the Mill Theatre at the end of the summer, and then I'm doing a run of headline shows in the UK in September and October. So we're trying to get moving, and now we've had our chat, I can open the curtains. We can pretend that last week didn't happen, and we can move on to the bank holiday weekend.
What last week? This is brilliant stuff. Listen, of course, you'll find all those links for Keego stuff in the program notes. So cheers, man. Hope to talk to you soon. Thanks a million.
Cheers.
And many thanks to you all for checking out our latest preview show. If you can also tune into Dublin South 93.9 FM from around 5 p.m. on Friday for our Harp and Rugby segment, then be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are, and you can follow us on all the usual social media channels. We will, of course, have a wrap pod for you this week, recording on Sunday evening, and hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.